We're going to get into the best bets. As is tradition here, we go with the winners first. And seeing as how I was the only one who won last week, I'm going to get things started. I alluded to it a little bit earlier. There's a couple games that it came down to here. One steamed about an hour before I came on air. So we're going to go with the New England Patriots laying 3. It just ticked a little bit at Pinnacle to -113. Cutoff price is -3, -123. There's a hell of a lot of uncertainty in this game. It's very difficult to fully accurately price, but I do believe that there's a lot of matches that work in the New England Patriots' favor here. Now, I say that not knowing who the quarterback is, and obviously there could be substantial differences between Mac Jones, Bailey Zappi, and Will Grier, but ultimately the Patriots were beat up a lot prior to their bye week. Devontae Parker being out hurt them a lot because Kendrick Bourne is on IR and they really didn't have another receiving threat. Trent Brown being out hurt them a lot. Jawan Bentley, the possibility of positive regression due to injuries is big for the New England Patriots, but ultimately I'm just not buying in to the Giants being a good team. Offensive line is certainly better with Andrew Thomas back in the mix there, but injuries on defense, Bobby Okereke, Adoree Jackson, Dexter Lawrence is banged up, and I just don't think very highly of the Giants with Tommy DeVito, who I'm not ready to proclaim is now all of a sudden this good quarterback after one performance against the Washington Commanders defense that I think is deplorable. It's painful, extremely painful. It really hurt me to get those words out of my mouth. But the New England Patriots -3, -113. Best bet for me this week on Forward Progress Best Bets. Now, guys, ordinarily, I would go to one of you two next. Both of you lost last week. We're going to mix it up with some fresh blood this week. And the reason I'm going to do this is because Hitman has one win on the year. And we want to give producer Jason the opportunity to match Hitman's best bets. One win. Producer Jason, you have your opportunity. G-Stack George had his opportunity. He blew it. 0-1. Seahawks got destroyed by the Baltimore Ravens in that game. Hitman has had 11 weeks. He's managed one win. You got your opportunity now. It's your time to shine. What are we doing for your best bet this week?
All right. Hopefully I don't fall flat on my face like I did for the trivia contest. But for my best bet of the week, I am going to go. You can see the Colts jersey here. I'm going to go Colts Bucks over 43.5 -160. And I'm going to be honest, I don't know what this is good to, right? I'm not going to claim I'm sharp. I'm pretty square. So tail this at your own discretion here. But just looking at both teams, I think both teams are pretty good. Offensively, they can move the ball downfield. The Colts, Jonathan Taylor, to me, has looked progressively better each week. Fresh off the bye, should be looking healthy here. And on top of that, I believe in Shane Steichen as a play caller. I think he can do good things with Gardner Minshew against this Bucks D. And then on the other side of the ball, Bucks are a sneaky good pass offense, top 10 in EPA per drop back, and have been throwing the ball the past couple weeks on those early downs, which we've kind of been asking for over the past, feels like, couple of years. Now, on top of all that, we talked about the cluster injuries for the Bucks cornerbacks here. A couple losses, Lavonte Davis, Carlton Davis, and then Jamel Dean as well got hurt last game. Shaq Leonard cut for the Colts, excuse me. So I'm going to go with the Bucks Colts over 43.5. I trust these offenses here. So tail this at your own discretion. Bucks Colts over 43.5.
Yep. And the theme of Hitman as well, taking some high vig on that play as well, which we just sticking with the theme of Hitman. All right, Eric, let's hope that this time around you don't suffer an absolutely dreadful, painful half point, 1 point, whatever loss. Who's the best bet this week and why?
I'm going to go with Suma's Jets. I'm going to take this thing out to +10. For Steve's concern, I'll, take it out to AK, whatever you want, minus 125 or so on this. I make it, quite a bit lower than this. And I know that it's tough to handicap Tim Boyle and like sort of what he adds relative to Zach Wilson. But we can make some estimates on, sort of typical replacement level quarterbacks of his experience and things like that. Both of these defenses are pretty good. And the Dolphins defense is improving. But I do think that the Jets will get some run in with Breece Hall, both in the passing game and through the air. I think Garrett Wilson will be featured quite a bit in this offense for good or bad. And, you know, in the case for Wilson, who gets open quite a bit, I think force feeding him targets will be good for the Jets. And I think defensively, Rob makes a good point about man coverage. But man coverage, you know, it does exacerbate the differences between the two teams. And I think if it was a sort of an average defense, I think that the Dolphins would fillet that defense if they played more man coverage than league average. I think the Jets are actually good enough to maybe curb that, especially given the Tyreek Hill's a little bit banged up with his hand and so on. So I do think that this number's a bit too high. And even though I'm not huge on Robert Salah, Tim Boyle, I'm sorry, I'm going to go with the Jets plus 10.
All right. Eric laying it out on the line with the Jets. I will buy Eric a Tim Boyle jersey if the Jets pull off the upset and I'll get a signed Tim Boyle jersey somehow. I'll figure out a way to get it for you, Eric, so you can put it in your background. Suuma, we will end off with you. This is a game we didn't cover on the show today. It's an AFC South matchup. It's the Texans and the Jags. Who you liking and why?
Yes, I'm liking the Houston Texans in this one. I think it all comes down to me trusting the Texans offense a little bit more right now. I mean, Jaguars offense has gotten progressively better throughout the season. Last few weeks, it's been clicking more. Calvin Ridley is suddenly not sticking exclusively to the outside, running routes all over the field. So a pretty good sign there. But I think in this matchup, both defenses are pretty decent against the run. Jaguars have been basically all season. In recent weeks, the Texans defense has also gotten better. I think since week 6, both defenses rank in the top 6 in rushing success rate on defense. Jaguars have given up a few big plays in recent weeks, but overall their success rate is pretty good. So this matchup might come down to which passing offense is going to be more explosive and more consistent. And right now, I trust CJ Stroud and the Texans offense a little bit more. I mean, watching Stroud is so enjoyable. Like, it feels like he has an answer on like every play. He's good against any type of coverage. He's a top 3 in passing metrics from a clean pocket. Jags D ranks pretty low in pressure rate, 29th in pass rushing grade. One caveat is for Trevor Lawrence in terms of coverage types would be that he has been doing much worse against zone coverage. Houston Texans, DeMeco Ryans defense are playing a lot more zone coverage. In general, Lawrence was also not great against cover 3, cover 4 types of defenses this season, which the Houston Texans defense plays at a combined 50% clip on the season and also in recent weeks. I just think that the Texans offense at home might have a small advantage in this matchup. And give me the Texans.
All right. That's 4 best bets this week.